share your screen so I can see whatever you're looking at?
Yeah. Hey
All
everybody.
right.
Thank you very much for joining tonight. We have Dime with us tonight. We're gonna give it a few moments for everybody to hop on, and we'll do introductions and everything. But yeah, retweet this, let everybody know, and we'll get things going shortly. Yeah, let me share the screen with you, Dime.
Yeah.
Um, is that it? Yes, that's it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thank you everybody for joining tonight. We'll get started shortly. Just waiting for everybody to hop on. If you got any tickers in mind, let us know. Write them down now or write them down later. How are you, Mr. Dime?
I'm good. I've kind of been cooking food all afternoon and watching futures.
How's your trading week been?
Oh, it's been terrible. This is objectively one of the worst weeks I've ever had. The dump on SPY kind of caught me by surprise, but there's still a lot of signs that reversal's already coming, and quite frankly, brr.
Yeah.
Or, excuse me, brr. How do you say it? Is it burr? I don't know. Burr. Burr
Close.
sounds so boring.
It's close enough. Yo, Jado, what's up, man? Yeah, Ford, man. My Ford calls are refusing to lose any money, so that's good.
I was really salty that I was in INO calls for the end of the week, expiring tomorrow. And I was like, oh, 600%. Hell yeah. I'm going to take that profit. And then it proceeded to rally like another 80% from where I exited.
Dang. Yeah,
Did you see that?
I
Did you
haven't
see
checked
that?
that. No. Let me check that.
Oh, it's
Oh
beast.
God, look at this.
Exactly.
X Factor was telling me, Kaleo was telling me, so many people were telling me to get in on it. I was like, no, I don't like pharmaceuticals.
I don't either. They're so hard to predict. It's like, oh, first of all, you have to do all the research and figure out if whatever they're working on is worth the time to take a long position. Then you have to take an option bet that times appropriately with the release of the good news. And then on top of that, you have to hope that there's good news.
Yeah, that's the hard part is just figuring out like your timing of options, guys. Like if you don't have your things right, you're just gonna end up losing money. Like my Piton play, man. Like I did really good earlier this week with Piton. It popped up, but I grabbed the one that was like a weekly one, and it's been going up. It's just if I would have grabbed next week out, it wouldn't have expired worthless, like it will tomorrow. Rip.
It's been a crazy week in the market regardless. The coronavirus scares have kind of been like showing up again, and everyone's getting a little nervous. But as soon as like SPY starts to even look like a little bearish, we get good news. We had the announcement regarding the banks today and the Volcker rules.
What's
I
this?
haven't. What's what?
What's the news about the banks?
Let me find the story. I'll send it to you so you can put it up on the stream.
Oh wow, thanks.
There it is. Bank regulations ease up on the Volcker rule. Next up are the stress test results.
Which
I
okay, I see it.
DM'd it to you.
All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and put that into the chat. Let me open up Restream chat too.
But as soon as this news dropped, the market popped, and you could see that some people already knew all of the bank stocks had sincere option flow. XLF, I got XLF calls today, and they were in profit barely at close, and I'm expecting them to continue tomorrow. But the option flow was definitely indicating that this was going to happen.
Yeah. Is there anything in particular that stuck out to you that made you think that way?
I saw a couple people on Twitter talking about it, and I was like, something's going on here, because I keep seeing, if I see JPN calls, Chase calls, Morgan Stanley calls, and then on top of that XLF calls, something's going on. And as you can see right there at the very top,
I
you can see like a
know. I wanted
7,000
to buy them.
contract order.
Look at these. XLF was going crazy today. I mean, it was just so bullish.
I got the highest strike that I saw on Cheddar Flow. I was just like, let's do something really out of the money, and it's either about to pump or not.
Yeah, I love these
Uh,
821s, man. Like, look at this, 15 cents for 28
which one
strike.
did I get? See, the other thing with cheddar flow is I've only been looking at opening orders lately, so that those aren't probably the ones I was looking at. I've had a lot more luck with opening orders lately than I have with pretty much anything else. Let me see which ones I got. I got XLF July 17th, 25 calls. So I still think those will be fine, but we need to see follow through from SPY as well.
And can you just explain again what your definition of opening orders is again? You told me the other day, but
So cheddar flow labels them as option contracts that get a lot of volume but don't have much open interest, indicating that it's likely someone opening a new position. The opening orders is at the top if you want to try that filter out. But pretty much, someone on Twitter, JMA Trades, actually was telling me that a lot of what he looks for is opening orders, and if you want to get really, really picky, he'll do opening orders, unusual, and out of the money. And he sometimes says you have to be patient for things to show up, but when they do and they're out of the money, they can be pretty profitable.
all right.
Depending on the setup, obviously. But you see Ally Bank in there. You see all of the bank stuff going on there. I don't know what's going on with Caesars.
Yeah, man, that's what I was saying. I was like, such a dated out thing for 15 cents. How could I resist?
Well, it's just like, I don't know what they're seeing there. I mean, obviously the trend is still good, but with the Corona situation not improving, we could see a lot of these places get re-shut down again. I'm hoping not, but
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't see. They're just opening up Vegas. I have people that are saying that they're gonna go to Vegas like soon. So I feel like those are gonna be like some of those environments that, like, regardless of what's going on, I think they're gonna still be kicking them. I mean, there's the first ones that started opening up first with those casinos. So I feel like they're gonna be the last ones shutting down now. That's my own opinion, though. Somebody said Powell is talking tomorrow. Oh man, damn it.
Oh no. I mean, that could be amazing or it could be terrible. Where are you seeing that chat? Should I go to? I'm on the Twitch. Should I go to your restream?
Yeah, it's on it's on Periscope. So you'll have to open it up on Twitter.
Do you want to link me or do I have to go up? Hackerman Ace. I just see the. Oh, there we go. Live via restream.
Yep.
Cool. There we go.
So yeah, as far as SPX goes and SPY goes for me today, I think we had discussed a chart yesterday. I was doing like the 1 minute charts or whatever. Essentially, the target was 306. Looks like we did end up gonna go ahead and attack the 306 level, which is basically the base level of this area over here before we dumped out. So everything's going good as far as ET structure goes on the hourly. We are inside the clouds for the hourly, so we do need to go ahead and break through over the 20 SMA over here. And I think we'll go ahead and be on track. If we go ahead and flip over to the daily over here, daily. I think we talked a little bit about fake outs on TK on ET a little bit. So right now there's not much going on as far as a loss off the Tenkin right now. It's still a magnet towards it, and this ET still going over here. So right now it's good for me, and I still think we're going to be attacking the gap up there at 330, 340. I really think that's what's going to happen at this point. Like, once we started filling, like, the second and third gap, I was like, well, damn. I guess they're just going to go for the whole gap. What do you think, Dom?
In regards to SPY gaps, I don't really pay attention to them that much. As a general rule, I'm more looking at where the option flow is going and what the futures are telling us. I actually managed to long SPY last night at the 618 retrace that we just had, the very bottom of the dump we had overnight, and so far that's very much in profit. I'm gonna hang on to it for a little while, but I think SPY is gonna at some point soon, probably in the next week, melt some faces. The reality is that no one is unconfident in the market. Unconfident, that's a word. I'm sure it is. So at this point it's really just between now and the election what's going to happen, and all of the sell-offs we've had the last 2 weeks or so have been getting weaker and weaker. So at this point, I think it's going to resolve to the upside, and it's starting to already. Futures are already pumping, I think, up 0.5% or so. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. Hopefully, Mr. Powell doesn't ruin everything for us.
For somebody who asked about the chart for Apple, so here is my Apple outlook. For one, you have Apple that already broke out on the highs and the possible double top that everybody kept saying that was going to happen, and it clearly has lost no type of structure. So based off of what I'm looking at over here, so you see the dotted lines over here. That's actually the weekly B bands placed on top of here, and the dotted lines, the dashed lines over here are the weekly Kijin, and I'm basing this on a daily compared to the weekly time frame. So I think what's going to end up happening is we're just going to keep on going up, and we're just going to ride the B bands up. And what you want to watch out for here is you're going to watch the Tenkin line as soft support and the Kijin line as hard support. And that's what you're going to want to go ahead and base your entries off of. Every time you see a tap on the Tenkin, if it shows strength on the low time frames, go ahead and play for it back to an attack to the top of the B bands. I mean, Apple's just been so super strong. The only things that I do kind of worry about are the fact that when I go to the weekly of these B bands, I mean, once they go ahead and extend out of the monthly B bands, I mean, there has to be some sort of pullback. So a pullback would definitely be in order, but as of right now, it doesn't show like anything like that's going to happen, but I'm concerned. Any takes on this analysis of Apple, or any of your takes on Apple?
So, Apple has obviously been going on a bit of a power run here. Like, there's no doubt about it. I'm drawing out something for you so I can show it on stream.
Yeah.
It is approaching some interesting fib levels. We just breached the 786, which is already in and of itself a little concerning. Because I mean, there's not much more room for Apple to go up here without just going straight parabolic, because the incline of the actual trend is getting scarily steep, and we also have declining momentum on the daily MACD. Longing here should only be like a scalp in general, in my opinion. I can't rule out Apple going to 400 by the end of the year, though, even by the next 3 weeks. But it's so what we have here is a trend-based extension. At the bottom of the image there, you cut it off, but it's at the bottom. You can see that as SPY.
Okay, there we go.
SPY keeps, or not SPY, Apple keeps going higher. The momentum is slowing. This isn't a bearish divergence, but it's just showing that it can't keep going on like this forever. The oscillators need to reset at some point.
Dude, that's exactly what the B-Bands is pretty much saying. It's saying, like, all right, it's having a fun run, but this diagonal momentum's going to stop at some point.
Yeah, and then it'll probably come down and test 325, the horizontal level there with the prior support. But
it's going to be deadly for the market, though.
It would be deadly for the market. I mean, the thing is, technical analysis in this environment is so difficult. You can be 100% right, and they just keep printing money and buying up assets. Yeah. And the more they print money, the more the dollar gets devalued, which means SPY rises because the dollar doesn't buy as much. So SPY needs to reflect the dollar value of basically more burr means stocks go up, because not only is the Fed purchasing assets, the dollar is devaluing. Therefore, each share of SPY goes up in number of dollars, but the amount of actual purchasing power and value within those companies is staying the same or going down. That is the dangers of burr, unfortunately. But that's a problem for our grandkids. Who cares?
Yeah, for some of us, I mean, that are waiting for 100K Bitcoin, we might not even have grandkids. So, hey. Yeah, as far as the dollar is concerned, I mean, the bearish structure on the dollar still hasn't been pushed out yet. I do have some upside dollar potential calls. Like, I'm still long UUP, which isn't really paying out right now at all whatsoever.
I have UUP 28.
Yeah? Yeah, we need, like, see, that's the thing, like, this will make us money, but, like, it won't make us money if it'll fuck up our portfolios if it does make us too much money.
We have to just trust in margin at this point.
My portfolio is not margin set up. I mean, I'm trying to get it set up at this point. So that's the thing. Like, what I'm trying to do at this point is because everything's so extended and all these things are running out of steam and locations. I mean, of course, the burr can keep going, but that's why I want to go ahead and hedge into gold at this point and like all sorts of random metals because I feel like it's to the point where we're not gonna see that because everybody keeps telling me they're like, oh man, we're just gonna wait for the second dip with this stock market so we can go ahead and get back in. And I feel like those are the people that are gonna get punished the most. That it's never gonna happen, but something's gonna happen enough to destroy premiums.
Someone is asking about DKNG at the moment.
That's a good one. What are your opinions on that one? I'm really sad on that one because I saw the order
I,
flow come up and never fucking
I
played it.
I saw it too, and I was like, "What? This sports aren't open right now."
That's what I said. I was like, what the fuck is this?
Sports aren't even open, so this was like a speculative bet for people on sports eventually reopening. It's hard to chart this because it doesn't have a lot of price history yet. All the price history before December is basically like nothing. There's no volume. There's not much. Let's see, what can I do here? So using a trend-based fib extension, you can see that it's hit a 4618 extension from the prior high, which is already ridiculous.
Link your chart.
Yeah, I'm going to.
Somebody said esports. I guess they incorporate esports into DraftKings.
If they're going to be enabling sports betting, esports is definitely part of that. I've also anchored a VWAP to the very bottom candle. I don't want to count everything before that, but effectively, I think that we're going to come back down to 19 at some point, retest that level.
$19?
Yeah, see, that's where the last prior support was before the parabolic movement. It could be 6 months before that happens, but
hold on. Okay,
as long as
I have a great example to check this off of.
Exactly, that's what I was about to say. It. SPCE did this exact same thing where it was like a nothing stock that no one cared about, and then suddenly calls started flowing in for 2021, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, dude. See, Dime knows.
And then, of course, it's now tanked back to the pre-hype levels, and it's consolidating before it starts to move. It moved after hours, by the way, so something may be happening here. They've had a lot of good news coming. But going back to DraftKings, this is the FOMO listing pump, if this was an altcoin, and it's going to come down at some point. It's just a matter of how quickly or not at this point.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be FOMOing into it here unless you see a real reason to, but I think at some point it's going to come back down to the $16 to $19 area, consolidate, and figure out what the next move is.
So one of the biggest money makers for me is going to be figuring out whether gold pops the 1800 in the beginning of July or the beginning of August. But I think it's definitely 100% gonna pop. The fact that it blew out the top of this range and now is gonna keep going and is continuing the formation of the clouds. I think maybe a little bit of a reset at this point to reset things just a little bit just to support test this. But I think definitely next month. I would say at the end of July, this thing will be at 1800.
Or tomorrow if Powell says, "Hey, we're printing more money." There was a lot of option activity on GLD today.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I actually picked up some of these. Not the best entry I could have gotten, no doubt, but it's so close to 1800. Like
GLD, I like this one right here. This
go to the opening orders. It's those repeat ones that are right below where you were just looking. Those are the ones.
Dang, they're expensive. $2, sir.
Sir.
I mean, I guess I understand like the look on it, but yeah, that's expensive for me.
Is that a $1 million put at the bottom there? I can't see.
Yes, that's $1 million put.
Yeah, I mean, gold could reverse back here, but it is still just putting in higher lows at this point.
Looks really nice on the chart. I mean, Ichi looks a little weak, but nice breakout.
I think those are dated, so if they go down, they go down, but I'll survive.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I wanted to go cheap, was because I was see like, let me go show you what I see on here. So I see 821 182 for 94 cents. Like, that's not bad. Like, low open interest, low volume. I think they're building into it because it's less volume than open interest.
Cheap options aren't always the way to go. When they work out really well for the risk reward
Well, it's not
profile.
like super cheap. This is just normal cheap because it's like 94 cents. I would think super cheap would be underneath 50 cents. I think this is reasonable at 94 cents. Could probably go to like a
I
dollar
I,
50.
I regularly buy $1,000 options on certain things depending on what they are.
Dang, sir.
Yeah, no, like Plan had really good option flow like a month ago, and I was like, what's going on here? And I believe it mooned. I'd have to go back and look. It did moon, and then it crashed.
Let's see what people are saying. People said ACB. I'm not a fan of pot stocks right now, guys. But Dime, are you a fan?
So I was actually in ACB August or September calls earlier this week, um, and the flow was 100% spot on. We had like a 30% pump very briefly, and then they announced that they're laying off everyone and cutting. Oh, look at that! They're on what's that? The monthly 20 SMA.
Yes, yes. Weekly 20 SMA. So I think it's gonna pop off of it.
They announced that they're laying off a bunch of people and closing facilities, which is short-term bearish but long-term bullish if they're cutting costs. I don't know how anyone is in weed is losing money right now. Everyone's stuck at home, bored, and smoking themselves silly.
Somebody said how the banks will be doing tomorrow.
Banks are gonna rip tomorrow.
Yeah, guys. So one of the things
Just
with
went over that actually.
yeah, the one of the things I've been doing with banks in general, with Bank of America. So we had the blow off on this end to end move. We had the blow off out of it all the way, which is a full extension. So now we're having the whole entire pullback, which typically happens when you see this Kumo level. So whenever I'm telling you guys there's a gap in the clouds, this is the kind of gap that we're seeing. We're seeing really small, thin clouds, and this is where the Kumo twist level is. So there's always a huge worry in my mind wherever this level's at, that hey, there's a possible chance that we'll have that extension down. So right now, I mean, it's doing exactly what I was worried about. I was worried that it was going to come down here, but overall, it didn't really lose anything. If it was going to get really bad, this would have turned already, and we would have had things go out a little bit worse. So overall, I think this is going to end up coming back out. It's going to pop to 27, come back to about 25, 26 again, and go ahead and pop up to 32, 31. I'm in for August anyway for this. I think earnings will be fine. Any any uh any thoughts on wait, what's it? Somebody said GS. Goldman Sachs.
I
Any
mean,
thoughts?
all the banks should do better tomorrow. For those of you that don't know or didn't hear us say it earlier, the what was it? The bank regulators ended or suspended the Volcker rule, which is both good and bad. It was effectively a rule that allowed banks to, or required banks to keep a certain amount of capital and go through stress tests and all this other stuff. It was something that was implemented after the 2008 recession because the banks were very, very naughty during the 2008 recession, to put it very lightly. And in order to keep things together and not have too much leverage and speculative hedges, not getting too wrapped up in derivatives, they had the Volcker Act. And I'm talking out of my ass here a little bit, but the Volcker Act was basically a regulatory band-aid for what happened.
Hey, if people really care, they can Google it. You're mentioning the terms, so that's good.
It mentions it in the article that you linked. I don't know if you put it in the Periscope, but it's in the one on Twitch.
Yeah, everybody should see it.
The Volcker rule is basically helped us climb out of the Great Recession that we had. And now we're undoing it for this one, which is so backwards.
Spotify is another one, dude. Spotify, everybody on stream's been mentioning this to me. They're like, "Hey, man, do you think it's a good idea to get into Spot?" And I'm like,
No.
"Nah." I'm like, "No." I'm like, "This is a bad idea." I'm like, "It's really extended. Probably not a good idea." And like, there's already been two major newses, and like, I keep looking like a fucking idiot because it keeps pumping up and up. And I'm like, "Look, I know, I'm sorry, but I just wouldn't do it."
I recently discovered that you can get premium Spotify just by using an ad blocker on their site. I've been using it recently, and I haven't gotten a single ad on the free edition.
Um, someone I know might have a free APK of it that's hacked.
I think back in the darknet market days, I bought a Spotify account. It belonged to some German guy, and he kept changing his settings back, and I don't think he figured out what happened until like 3 months later, and then he locked me out.
He said
It
Das
was fun.
Beats.
What?
Das Beats.
Das Beats.
You're taking over his music. Yeah, Spotify's a ripper, guys. I mean, you can't really play these things on like macrofied.
I wouldn't get into Spotify at this point. I mean, that's just.
Can you explain your mentality a little bit more? Just because like people don't understand. Can you explain why you wouldn't get into it? Because people have a hard time understanding, like as options traders, why these kind of things are actually just unnecessary amounts of risk for us versus somebody that would be spot player.
When you're buying assets that are in full pump mode, options for them become very expensive, and then you start paying what we call premium. Premium is both your friend. You want to sell premium. You don't want to buy premium, ideally, unless there's like a really good reason. Some stocks command more premium than others. Tesla, Amazon, Apple, those calls tend to be very, very expensive because they're consistently volatile in one direction or another. Stocks like Spotify at the moment, the premiums for their option without looking at the option chain, is undoubtedly going to be very, very expensive right now. And then if it reverses here, which based on just the basic TA that you did right there, that channel, it could easily come back down and test the bottom of that channel before resuming the moon mission. In any event, this is a news-based pump, and while Spotify is a solid company, this is still not the place to enter. You typically want to buy pullback days and red days on good companies. Oh wow, that chart.
Yeah, I'm like, there's like a gap down here, guys. Like, there should be some sort of patience you guys should have to where...
Gaps can take a long time to fill, though. And if Spotify suddenly gets Oprah or something tomorrow, it's going to go to $30,000.
We'll look out for that.
But they've been busy acquiring really exclusive content. Who was it? They did Joe Rogan first, Kim Kardashian. What was the announcement today?
Shit, the Diamond Ace are gonna make a podcast on Spotify. How do we do this?
Well, first we need to have like 20 million followers.
Wait, why? You can't just do that?
That's how. No, these are exclusive deals that they got with these very famous celebrities. I mean, Joe Rogan's podcast can influence the nation ultimately, so they locked him the fuck down.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting podcast, but so like I can't be a normal person and just get on there?
No, this is a contractual deal. I mean, if you have a podcast, they might. I don't use Spotify, so I don't know, but the deals that are pumping Spotify here are big public contracts that are getting a lot of attention.
Somebody mentioned WA. I've been watching this one. It hasn't really done anything. I've been waiting for it to set up and move out. It's kind of in the structure for Ichi where it's looking nice. But it's a little bit still too in the reds, too in the, like the, I would say in the danger zone for me where it hasn't really confirmed yet. And the fact that the earnings are literally like about a week away. This is one of those things where I'd rather wait for the earnings to play out, let it do its little nut stuff it's going to do for earnings, and then play right after earnings regardless of if it's good or bad.
I would wait for the monthly candle close, honestly. It's looking like it's starting to... Go to the monthly... Oh, you're already there.
I'm going to go over here, actually.
So it is at a big monthly support level. No doubt about it. At some point down here, Walgreens is going to fly into floor. It's really a question of where. I'm drawing it out right now to see what I can see. So oh wow!
Fib level me, please.
Oh, you're gonna like this.
I'm gonna go to.
Oh man, you're gonna like this. So it just completed a 786 retrace from the last bottom that it had. Check that out. Now, it could go to the 886, which seems like a much more valid support to me.
What's the magic geometry number here?
What? What do you
What
mean magic geometry?
what's the magic number here for fibs? All I know is
I mean,
0.618.
I mean,
What's the number that look?
786 and 886 are both valid places for it to balance. It really just depends on what's going on with Walgreens as a company. That I mean, if you're building a spot position, starting to scale in between here and the 886 doesn't seem like a terrible idea to me. There might be a reason that Walgreens is bleeding out the way that it's been bleeding out. Um, but in any event, this is a very strongly downtrending stock, and until it puts in a higher high or a higher low on the monthly, I really don't want to play this at all.
Yeah, Daniel. So once the stream's over, you'll be able to back up and go into it and go back into it. If you really want, you can go to Twitter. I mean, on Twitch, at Astacks, and I think you should be able to go back up a little bit. And Dime. So like these are the kind of things like let's say I'm doing really really good. Like these are the kind of things I'm looking at now, just because their premiums are so burnt out for calls that I feel like getting some kind of lottos on this at this point wouldn't hurt for call lottos for or call lotto leaps. Like that's
Yeah,
my new thing right now is I've been looking for leaps that are cheap, but they're lotto cheap, but they're reasonable though.
I would still be more likely waiting for some kind of strong sign of reversal, like a strong monthly reversal candle, or just a god tier entry down at $30 or something. Um, I'm not sure what the order flow is saying for today.
Checking none for today, but I'm gonna check for June in general. June order flow. Let's check for leaps because that's all that matters.
There's nothing really that stands
Yeah,
out.
yeah, not a single thing. So there is some low open interest positions, but these guys are only aiming for about October for about a 40 to 45 play. So they're really not aiming for much. As far as what range I just drew right now, they're still playing with inside the range box. So nobody's really doing an OTM play. There's one guy doing like $50 strikes, but all the other $50 strikes are put. So I'm like, yeah, it's
Someone's
not
asking
good.
us to take a look at UPS.
Okay. Well, UPS has nowhere to go up since all the other competition's pretty much out. Yeah, look, the volume's even showing like, hey,
Why is all the other competition out?
um, so major retailers are pretty much not going to be using any other places.
Oh, I see
One,
what you're saying.
one
I was
because
like,
like they're
FedEx is
so.
closed. What do you want about?
Yeah, no, yeah, FedEx is cool, but it's just FedEx is expensive.
Yeah.
People who have like online businesses and things like that, like FedEx is really hard to deal with. Like you're either going to UPS or you're going to USPS. The only time you're ever going to anything else is if it's like something unusually odd or it's going like overseas. Internationally, like I think that's how I would judge it. Like if these companies, aside from UPS and um, however you do a USPS, I think all those major like shippers, I think you're gonna want to judge them by what kind of international shipping volume they have. If they have a nice amount of international shipping volume, I think they'll last. If not, I think they'll end up ending out just like Hertz, which I mean doesn't seem like anything's happening to it because it's going bankrupt. But apparently, the bankrupt that is happening is not like, hey, we're going bankrupt and adios. It's apparently bankrupt and we're gonna restructure our finances. I don't know the different type of bankrupts, but apparently it's not the super end of the world, but definitely not worth investing in.
Man, I don't know who was buying puts on the 15th. Oh, okay, that was.
They bought more Hertz puts today.
No, I'm looking at UPS flow right now. I'm not even touching Hertz. I'm so salty. I had a $1 strike call on it, or a few of them rather, and then I was like, wait, I'm longing a bankrupt company during a
Yeah.
recession. This is a terrible idea. What am I doing? And then it just went up. It makes no sense, and it went up. So UPS is still. Oh wow, UPS has seen some really excellent order flow for. Man, like yesterday, someone bought 115.2021 for 115 strike.
Hold on.
So people are in general betting on this continuing to go up.
Ooh, look at that.
It hasn't reached any really critical fib levels yet. So there is definitely possibility of continuation. It's over the capitulation VWAP and the all-time high VWAP. I think that's the all-time high.
Is that the chart?
Not
Yeah.
quite the all-time
Oh,
high, but the last recent high.
this is what I'm seeing, guys.
This is just really basic fib levels. It's kind of a messy chart, and I'm not really super interested in trading it. It's really directional, though. It either really goes down or it really goes up.
I'm gonna go with it's gonna go really goes up. I mean, the chart looks really ugly, and I mean,
I would wait for the next low before you FOMO in.
if I had to say something, I would say somebody's doing something with this, because like this price action's hideous on the weekly. Like, what the fuck is this box like?
It's just gap city, gaps.
Like,
Like it whatever. Or I don't know. I know what UPS is, but UPS keeps.
it's almost as ugly as Walmart's price action.
God, yeah. I don't know
Look at
why
this.
I've stopped long in Walmart. It's so horrendous. Even during the March capitulation dump, it held up so well.
This is the price action during March. I was like, what is this?
But it held up so well during March, but at the same time, it was just like up down, panic. What's going on? I don't know why Walmart does that. It might have something to do with the fact that a lot of people aren't like actively buying, selling, and trading it. It's one of those companies that people just like buy and hold on to because it's Walmart. So maybe they didn't see as much volatility as some other stocks did, but for what it did during the Corona crash, that was pretty stellar. I look back at it every once in a while because it's just so weird.
APT. This is what.
APT ripped. Well, not today, but it ripped in general this week.
Yeah, look at that directional volatility. Ugh.
Ugh.
Yeah. Oh, look. Even more in February.
I mean, they're just one mask company ultimately. Like there's nothing particularly special about them other than they became a bit of a meme. Let's see here. I'm charting it out for the bros in the chat.
No,
that's so perfect. Wow. You're going to love this.
Let's see it.
I'm bringing it up.
Damn, and Dixie looks like it's going to fucking pop up too, so that's not good for the market. Like, I hope it double tops at 98, but if Dixie flips at 98, boys, we're going to see Dixie at 99 again. All right, what am I looking at here?
So I kind of took a strange liberty with the fib. I used the gap up candle because the rest of the price action was completely boring.
That's
just
fine.
Flat. But you'll see that not only did it break out and retest the all-time high, the anchored VWAP, it also breached over the breakout candle from January. Once it actually got going, it had a good time from there. It went up. What is that? Price range 30%. That's not bad. But also note how well it's now 3 times respected the 618 from the 2 points on my chart. It gets bought up at the 618 every single time and has been running from there. This is why your entries matter, people.
And even more so when you're doing options, because you buying in late, especially when something's already getting to move, means you'll be buying into me selling into you. So you'll be buying my bags when I'm selling them already up at like 100%. So that's one of the other things that I look at. If I've been strictly there sitting there for days on ends, for months, just watching price action left and right and just seeing how the options are moving, I'll be able to tell what the price option history is. So I'll know, hey, am I buying into something that is generally out of range and has only moved about 30, 40, 50, 60, maybe even 100% in range? Or am I buying something where the options have already been moving and I'm buying something in where all these open interest buyers are already up about 2, 3, 400%? Buying into something like that holds so much more risk than buying into something that hasn't really had that, I guess, like IV into it.
Someone's asking about Baba, and it doesn't look good.
Let's see. Baba.
I sent you a chart.
Ooh, dude, I gotta teach you this thing on ET later. I mean, it doesn't look too bad, but it is reaching like a lot of resistance levels at this point. But it
You're
just
gonna
did another
change your
bullish
mind
PK.
when you see what I sent you.
Okay, let's see. This is Dime's Alibaba Holding. Dime doesn't know that Jack Ma is gonna make his workers pump the stock because they work 10 hours a day. So if you think this company's going down,
I think it's gonna pull back. It's at a golden pocket area. Let's see what the momentum's like there.
Let's see what the order flow says.
It's a higher high. Weekly hasn't closed yet, but it's a higher high and lower momentum on the weekly. Going into the golden pocket. I mean, this isn't the place to long. I could definitely see it coming back down and testing those VWAPs that held up so well. Check out how well they held up for the what's it called? The March capitulation dump. So clutch.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's on soft support right now for the daily Ichi. Middle, it's right barely on the middle B bands. There's not really much volume support here. Most of the levels are lower around this 205, 204 level, but we have the hard support at 215. And most of the order flow for today was bearish.
Someone's asking about HHT.
Hey, instead of chart requests, do you guys have any questions? Anything other than that? Or, I mean, I don't mind. Any crypto? Yeah, we can do crypto. Let's do Bitcoin.
What's crypto? I don't talk about crypto anymore.
Aw, man. Dude, I love crypto. So crypto, as we know, everybody who's been watching the streams, what my stance on Bitcoin is, and I'm gonna say it again because I love saying it. Okay, so zoom out to the weekly, boys. Ready? Zoom out. No historical higher high has ever been broken. There's no need to technically bet on that now when no higher high has been broken. You're betting on something that's historically technically not there. So I would rather personally wait for this to pump another $1,000 and confirm that it's going to be support testing and coming through over here and hitting this 12,000 range rather than betting in now and watching this inevitably dump to 82 where it's going to be shortly and lose my money. I rather long later and buy now. Like, even if I was institutions, all this positive news that's coming out with Bitcoin, yeah, it's great, honestly, awesome, cool. Nobody in their right fucking mind, if they are an institution, are going to be like, hey, look, price has been going diagonally up. Let's go ahead and enter in now because we're going to go ahead and continue it. No, nobody's going to buy up higher. At least that's my opinion on it. So
I'm trying to, like, I've been Bitcoin bull to the end of the earth for the last 5 years, 6 years.
Yeah,
and
that's good.
The thing is that Bitcoin is now, in my mind, until it makes the higher high, it is just an instrument for big traders and institutions to fleece retail. I mean, I have a small scalp long going on right here, but I'm not planning to keep it open for long. It's sad to see what Bitcoin has become. Like,
yeah, very sad. Very, very sad.
I think that it's more than likely we're going to see another new low before we actually start a real bull run. They want to scare everyone out of it while they secure their bags. And
another thing is that this whole thing that I just drew right over here, these red lines, that's the range of Bitcoin that it's been in. So since the beginning of May, it's been in a range. So if you've been trying to capture a position for a big giant movement, it's not going to happen yet until this breaks. And what you should be focused on inside of here, once you have a range drawn, is those altcoins, because you see everybody making hundreds of % on altcoins. You see things like Comp doing 5 times in 48 hours. So as long as Bitcoin can stay in this range, the longer it stays in this range, the more environment the money has to go ahead and scheme altcoins and go ahead and put it into Bitcoin, whatever they want to do. But this is the best environment for altcoins, is this ranging environment. Have you been doing any altcoins?
I'm in Tezos at the moment, which I'm charting as we speak.
Dude, let me give you tons of shitcoins. I'll give you shitcoin lottos. You should just put like a Bitcoin aside for shitcoin trades that I'm gonna give you. But they'll be like investments. They'll be like gem trades, which like
this sounds like financial advice.
It's you'll never know. It's crypto. We don't know where the funds are coming from. So, But yeah, no. So there's like a couple coins I've been investing in because me and Seattle have been talking about them, and I mean, I have a general idea of myself as far as what's a gem and what's not a gem, and he's been mentioning them, and like, dude, I've been just joking around and tossing in like point 0.5 here, a Bitcoin here, and just like, it's been awfully terrible. Like, they're on like super shitcoin exchanges. Being able to scale in with like point 0.5 takes about 2 weeks. So yeah, it's really bad, but it's finally starting to pay off because they're starting to list them on exchanges. They're starting to get a little bit more liquidity, and it's like up like 500-600% in like a month. I still can't sell it, but eventually there will be a day.
I'm still salty. I sold my RSR at the last peak.
Oh, yeah, man,
That thing's been a beast.
here's the one that he put me on that has been just doing so good. This chart looks ugly. Oh, I think it's gonna get listed on Binance, but yeah, I mean, these charts are really ugly. It's like Centivate before Centivate became famous. Alright, so here's the chart for this one, a 7-day chart. Well, 14. We'll do a 14-day chart. So from June, it's been riding. It's not bad. In 14 days, it's already up 300%. In 30 days, it's up 900%. Wow, my bag's up that much. Shit. And I still can't sell any of it. But yeah, I can give you a couple more of these if you wanted to. You know, this still
really
isn't a bad deal.
I haven't been trading altcoins at all.
Do
I'm
it.
really just sick of it.
Get on Stacks. RSR, let's go check it for shits and giggles. Why not? Holy fucking shit.
I sold that last peak to the Satoshi almost, and I was thrilled.
Wow. Dude, there's this kid I know. He finagled something with Wells Fargo where like he got charged. He basically took $10,000 of the credit card money and put it all into RSR. And he messaged me a couple months ago. He's like, I bought all my RSR with my credit card. He's like, but then they refunded me the money back to my credit card balance or back to my bank account. So now I have the 9,000 from there, and then I have another 5,000 in my bank account. But they should have never given me my 5. He's like, what do you think I should do? He's like, I think I'm gonna go buy more RSR. I'm like, well, if you really don't give a fuck about the the things, the repercussions of all that, I'm like, they can't really send you to jail, but it'll definitely fuck up your future and your life. I'm like, if you don't pay that back. But hey,
we're millennials. We don't need to buy a house.
He's good. Yeah, he's good right now. He might as well buy a house with that money because he's been making so much money. I can't imagine. I'm gonna actually bug him today. Be like, yo, how's your RSR bag? And if he tells me he sold it, I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna hack you for your Bitcoin because you deserve it for selling it. Damn, insane.
Benefits of using TrendSpider, something from Crypto Love 66. It's really hard to compact that into one.
Ooh, dude, I can tell you immediately because I have been using all this stuff like recently a lot. So, I mean, TradingView I just happen to use a lot because that's the first platform I used. But TrendSpider, I really like a couple features on here. Like I really like this multi-time frame analysis where they end up having. I can put multiple indicators on multiple time frames on one single screen. So right here, you're seeing me putting the weekly B bands on a daily chart, while having weekly Ichi charts on here as well. So basically, what that means is like I don't have to cycle through charts, and I can quickly just go through each of these charts and be like, all right, well, which one of these are at the middle B bands and are still going to have a good structure on the daily structure as far as what we've been talking about. And I'll be like, hey, like I'll just say yes or no, like BA yes, yes, maybe, yes, yes. Yes. There'll be a note somewhere. Yes. Yes. Why is there all yeses? Yes. Hold on. There'll be a no. I hope. Yes. Damn. Okay, this is technically a no, but it's still close enough. Yes. Yes. All these things are on the weekly middle B bands, man. So this is a no. Once this loses anything, this is the top of the B bands instead of the middle. So this is a no right now, Microsoft. But that's just like the little things right there. And dude, Dime, can you show me how to do this script feature?
What?
How do I do the script feature on Actually, we'll do that after stream. I wanted you to show me how to use how you create your own fuck, you had done it on there, like the signals for
No,
each.
no, you're talking about the scanner, not the scripts.
Yeah, the scanners.
Yeah. The scanner was, I basically just set it for, I was just looking at Bitcoin and I set it for TK crosses, entries and exits. And if you just manually did that, you would have had like, I think I want to say like 130% PNL for the last year.
Yeah, but Crypto Love, I mean, I can't really suggest platforms too hard unless they I only can suggest things that I use. So I use everything, but it's just a matter of what I use for what reason. So it really depends on if it's going to be useful to you. I mean, all these things have trials. If you end up using them and you like them, go for it. I'm really liking TrendSpider. Overall, it's cheaper than TradingView, but TradingView is just a more popular platform, and it's just technically has more advanced type features. But TrendSpider's not behind.
So what I'll say is that TrendSpider is in some ways behind TradingView. They are undoubtedly a powerhouse of amazing features as it is right now. Like it's really, really cool how useful some of those features are, like the volume shelf, anchored volume by price, anchored VWAP. They had anchored VWAP before TradingView did. TradingView is starting to pick up the pace with some of their development because of TrendSpider's existence. So I love the competition, but ever since TrendSpider came on the scene, TradingView's been trying to be better. So I do appreciate that from them. There are a lot of really cool features on TrendSpider for power users, people that really like digging into the weeds and the data. It's definitely something you want to try the trial on and not just buy and subscribe today. It takes, honestly, I've unsubscribed and resubscribed 3-4 times because it is both really useful and why is there a video of Cheddarflow playing?
I'm sorry, I was just gonna.
It is a really useful platform, but I would definitely say it's for power users. The cool thing that I really like about it is that when I'm using it, I feel like my charting and the way I'm looking at charts is much more technical than what I do on TradingView. I don't know if Ace shares that same thing, but TrendSpider's focus and appeal and feel is really kind of set up more to make you feel like you're looking for specific data points, and I really enjoy that about them.
I will show to you guys, however, Cheddarflow though. If you guys ever want to do options order flow, there's my ref link. Sign up if you know what you're doing. If you don't know what you're doing, ask me or Dime, and we'll gladly set you up and give you a link. But yeah, we use this one daily for our order flow.
We've both been subbed for over a year. It's wonderful.
Data is an edge in options, in my opinion, and more data you have, and more clear the data is. I'm an options order flow trader at this point. Some people are more so directional TA based traders, but I at this point would consider myself. I really, really hate taking options that are not order flow based. If I end up taking them, I mean, I have so less confidence in them, and the position sizing so different versus when I actually see something and somebody that's a bigger player have it. Once I'm playing $1 million positions, then I won't look at options order flow anymore. But until then, let's go. Can you imagine buying those $25 calls? Buying a bunch of them?
On what?
Anything.
What are you talking about? Like for $25 premium, so $2,500.
Yeah, those options for Amazon that are so nice that end up going from $25 to $100, and it's
no joke. Right before the Corona, the Corona strikes, or the Corona dump, I should say, I bought, I want to say 2,700 Amazon July calls, and even though it only went up $50, they were up 500%, something like that. That's why they command such high premiums, because as soon as they start heading even halfway towards your target, you're in massive profit. Let's see, where was the Corona dump?
if I was a rich person, I would love to scale into these. Like, uh, February $4,000 strike Amazon calls. Like, wow,
That's
insane,
crazy.
insane. He'll probably make money once it crosses 3,029.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm pretty salty that I was working at Amazon when it was still like $200, $400 range, and I didn't buy any. It's amazing how well they've
This
done.
this is what kills me. Okay, I was working at Lowe's when it was fucking at how cheap was Lowe's when I was working there? It was very cheap. It was like fucking around underneath $80, and like this dip over here, I didn't buy any of it. I'm so sad, and it's like completely recovered fully. And Lowe's is one of those companies that I feel like it's just gonna keep exploding with Home Depot. Like there's no need for these companies to go down. Everybody's gonna need all these home supplies and all sorts of things.
I had AMD at $15, and I sold it for like a 3% loss or something. I got sick of waiting for it to do something,
Oh no.
and then I didn't follow it for like I wasn't actively trading until the last like year and a half, 2 years, and the signs were all there. I have that exact same flag drawn out on my monthly chart for AMD.
Will TradingView or TrendSpider give you price levels I chart on my level manually?
What do you mean price levels? In what sense?
It has these things called trend lines. How do I turn these on?
Oh, the auto trend lines. Yeah, those are really cool.
How do I do that again?
I don't really use them, but some people really like them.
How do I do it?
You have the trends. Turn off everything else for starters, because it's impossible to see.
Sorry. I always
then
forget that. Like people don't
But
understand
it's the
everything.
trend. It's the trends button at the top.
Oh, here we go.
They need a button for turning off everything. I don't know why your trend lines aren't showing up because you have them enabled. Oh,
Yeah,
there
yeah,
they
here
are.
they are.
So they'll draw a lot of really interesting stuff. They're kind of hard to customize, and there's no ability to customize the actual like shape and size of the lines. Last I checked, so it can make them really take up a lot of real estate on your chart, even if they're useful. Um,
Like here we
I
go.
don't use them. Sometimes I'll turn them on just for kicks, though.
Like here we go. Like what I can do is I like doing this. Like you can double click these, and they end up staying on there for good. So like I really like that. He told me how to do this one, so I can do
I
that.
didn't know that. That's cool. Oh,
And-
now they're thin. What the hell?
Yeah, see, he told me how to do this. I was like, "Yo, that's what I needed." I'm like, all these pop up, and I'm like, "All right, let me figure out which one." But if I just do it that way, I can just go ahead and deal with it with the thin line.
I'm gonna have to yell at Jake from TrendSpider. Like, why didn't you tell me that?
Yeah, that was one of the really cool things. So yeah, we can go ahead and see. Yeah, I mean, this really only applies to people if you're like a level trader. But either way, like you'll still be able to spot out like interesting levels, interesting trends, and play them based off of it. Like one of the things for me, I like doing is I like trading things on like apex points, like where you see multiple crossing lines and things, and I'm like, all right, well, if there's so many confluent areas over here, TrendSpider isn't free, but TrendSpider is cheaper. If you're strictly doing crypto though, I would say go to Go Charting. They're a free crypto charting platform. I really enjoy them. I have a lot of fun on their platform in general, and it's just cool. I really like it.
Show them anchored volume by price on XAG USD.
XAG. Oh, who's the champion? Hold on, let me see.
Who's this about a champion?
Sean Cookie. Yo, I appreciate the follow, man. Thank you.
Deathclock99 is asking how to read order flow.
How do you read order flow, dude? That is
It's
a
a bit.
great
It's a
question.
bit of an art. It's hard.
Okay. Can you give me your description of a dime in like a simple way? Like imagine if you're explaining to like a 5-year-old, which I guess a 5-year-old shouldn't
So
be doing
how-
option trading, but
So when you're seeing, no matter what option scanner you're using, whether you're using Thinkorswim or Cheddar Flow or whatever, what we basically look for is a technical argument to back up existing order flow that we're seeing. Like, for example, if we see some stock doing a massive Fibonacci retrace but suddenly we see millions of dollars worth of calls being opened at that particular level. That's a solid sign that that stock is potentially about to reverse. And vice versa, if we see a stock that's heading into some technical argument
And
level.
I'm so sorry. I'm gonna cut you off there because whenever you mention interesting points, I'm gonna stop out and give a better even better example. So as far as what Dime's saying, another technical point as far as like when to enter, like here's what Dime showed as far as technical analysis on APT. A bunch of people mentioned this one. It broke over the VWAP and it's support tested over here. Like this point over here, that's when mine and Dime minds are immediately like, hey, what kind of order flow is supporting the fact that there's a support test going on the VWAP at this moment? All right, go ahead, continue.
You interrupted my flow.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Ultimately, we're trying to ride when you're using order flow programs like Cheddar Flow, you're trying to ride the coattails of people with much larger pockets than you. The purpose is really, or the methodology is to look for people that are opening orders that are reasonably priced, that are likely going to go up. That's really the bare bones of the situation. In regards to like how, I mean, it really varies from person to person and how they would approach that. I like to look at opening orders that are unusual and out of the money typically, but Cheddar Flow also has this great feature where it shows repeat call flow. So if I see some stock that's suddenly getting like thousands and thousands of options going into it, but it hasn't moved, I want to know what's going on with that. Here's a great example. Really? People were buying SQQ today?
I just found it. It disappeared on me. What happened?
You hit SPY.
Oh.
Well, those people are wrecked today.
I'll just use Nike because it was in the news today.
Is that MIC?
No, Nike.
Oh, Nike. I don't know who was buying. Someone on Twitter, Carbon Base, told me to short, or told everyone to short Nike because there's no way their earnings would have been good. So this would have been one of those times where it's a crowded trade. So you can't, unfortunately, just blindly follow this.
I didn't even think about it because all their stuff got stolen during.
Well, it's not. It's insured. Like that's a drop in the bucket for them. They lose shipments all the time and stuff gets stolen. But their earnings generally were not good and they gapped down. What's the strategy for open interest on Cheddar?
That varies between trader, in my opinion.
It varies between trader, varies between stock. Like, I'd be much more comfortable buying something with no open interest on SPY because it's SPY. But if it's some random microcap company, I'm not going to. I'm sure Ace has as well, but we've both been stuck in illiquid options before that we literally couldn't sell because there was no market for it. I've had options that pumped 500%. And I couldn't sell them because there was literally no one paying attention to this random stock.
This right here is a great example. I played meat before coronavirus, okay? It didn't do shit until the coronavirus peak at the bottom over here, and I still barely could sell them. And then now the price action has been godly sideways, which has been the best hedge probably.
That's crazy how it's just sideways like that.
I know.
I've never seen a stock do that.
This is the only stock out of the whole world I've seen do this. Like, it's gonna dump, I think. I don't know, but yeah, so for me, for open interest, it's like, so I hate heavily open interest unless I'm doing like a shorter term play, because heavy open interest for me makes me think back to the thing of historical price action of options. Am I buying into people with open interest that have been buying from the bottom and I'm already buying in for like 500, 700% in? Or am I doing something like, hold on, not these.
You should absolutely pay attention to OI. It like I said, it depends on what you're trading. One of the filters that I use is the opening orders filter, which is looking for volume on something with very little OI.
That's good.
Which typically means someone is creating an opening position, and if it's large and interesting and agrees with my own analysis, then I'm very willing to take that trade.
So I'm having a hard time finding an example, but just to give an example right now, what you're seeing over here, you're seeing the open interest, like, for example, you're seeing over here 712 open interest on EEM puts over here, but the volume is 1400, so it's double the volume. So right off the bat, for my mind, I'm thinking, hey, there's more volume than there's open interest. So somebody's obviously, not only they might be accumulating a position, they're also trading this rather than just simply buying it and sitting in the position. But when I see something like, I can't even believe I can't find anything. Hold on.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for one where the open interest, the volume doesn't supersede the open interest. It's like less. I should be able to find it. Okay, yeah, here we go. I mean, no, this is horrible examples. What the fuck? Why can't I find one?
Sort by volume.
I think we're getting there. Okay. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so this is good enough. Yeah, here we go. So somebody for GME is betting on 15K open interest, but there's only 292 volume flowing in. So this is a low volume size position coming in for 292. How many position? This is 250 size volume position. So majority of this is this player right over here in my mind. It's $1.05 price, great price, and it's a 115. And it's for GME, which has been consolidating at a monthly bottom low range. So immediately when I'm seeing this one, I'm like, hey, low volume, high open interest. So that doesn't mean that somebody's actually trading these inside of here. And so there's not some kind of, hey, I'm buying low, selling high during the day and week, and I'm getting out, and you can't really analyze it. For me, it's like, hey, there's somebody that's buying 250 of these, and I can see them, and they're buying into these 15K ones. So it's not bad. It's underneath $2. It's around $1 right now. And this is something that I would bet on that would immediately stick out for me. So really, once again, this really comes down to what works best for you as an order flow thing. Because at the end of the day, anybody who's learning options, you want to develop your own strategy. You don't want to develop somebody else's strategy because they have different triggers in their mind for what happens when something goes wrong or what happens as far as risk strategies go. And nobody has the same amount of money that everybody plays with. And everybody has just different kind of things. I mean, it's just so many different variables that you can understand what other people do and take from it, but don't strictly sit there and do it. Yo, the best follow. You're in for a treat, dude. Yo, what's up, man? Thank you for the follow, dude. He's a really awesome guy on Twitter, dude. You guys should definitely follow him. And he's low tier, a god options trader, and doesn't talk about it.
Hi, you're in for a treat. I'm sorry you blocked me.
He unblocked him. He's cool. He didn't know that Moon Crypto Lambo was a scammer.
Who?
He tweeted out, said anybody's that's following Moon Crypto Lambo.
Before that.
Nah, it's cool. He'll block you. He said you're in for a poo poo. Okay, I'll find you, sir. Anyway, so yeah, so that's pretty much it for that. That was a good question, Crypto Love 66. You're asking the fire. I like it. And what was the trick? I don't even remember what I was saying as far as the trick goes. It's just basically those like major technical levels and major technical flips. That's when you're going to be looking for those order flow things. Like a great example, I always keep coming back to Ford. So anybody who's been learning Ichi off me for the last couple weeks, the biggest thing is whenever these price actions get into here after compression, that's what you're looking for as far as a technical level. So once your technicals say, hey, yes, it's good to go to the next technical level, as an options trader, that's when you're looking into it and seeing, hey, what do I want to do? I mean, there's also people who are a little bit more advanced, like people who do those butterfly trades and iron condors and things like that. So eventually that's just a different form of trading. But if you're new into options, you just want to stick to the basics. Just get a general idea of doing stuff first and do it with a small risk of money. Don't go gung-ho with 10 grand doing options, putting $1,000 plays in. That's just crazy. I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. That's with me with crypto. I started with so much fucking money with crypto and blew so much of it. I wish somebody would have told me in the beginning, yo, start getting good on a small amount. And if you can do good on a small amount, you can do good on a bigger amount. Yo, JK Coins, I appreciate the follow. Thank you so much.
Hey, JK.
Any other option advice on your end, Dime, from this whole entire time as far as like mental issues go? Because I feel like that's one of the things that people really
So
like me talking about.
the one thing that's really concerning with cheddar flow is like you'll sit there and watch the flow all morning, and then suddenly you'll be like, oh, I have 15 open positions. How did this happen? um, you kind of have to be careful not to like go on a complete shopping spree, because then you have 15 positions to manage, and that is unpleasant. I've done it a few times and I've avoided it, but eh, the the people that are taking these option trades, 90% of them are just as stupid as everyone else is, and they're hoping and they have a ton of money. Some people are legitimately trading these flows and the chart itself and being correct, but you need to be very discerning with which particular options you are entering. Um, Effectively, this is a giant money pit or the key to unlimited funds, depending on how your own technical analysis matches up with the flow that you're seeing. The market's always right. Cheddar flow is not always right.
That's a good boy. Sorry.
You're not even listening. You're playing with your dog.
No, I'm listening. He started crying and looking at the pad. He was on my bed. He's like, please let me go to the bathroom. I think it's about time to take him out anyway. Do you guys have any wrap-up questions? I'm actually going to go ahead and do that last request for Jake, Neo, because somebody was talking to Neo about me, and they were like busting my balls because I was being smart, and I was like, you know what? We're gonna play technical levels on Neo. I'm like, it's gonna come back down. I'm like, if we lose this Tenkin level, I'm like, it's definitely gonna come back down to this box. I'm like, in general on Neo, we flipped a major weekly level over here, so that's amazing for Neo. So I'm bullish in general, but this guy was like really on me. He's like, nah, man. He's like, that shit's not dipping. I'm like, it's only reacting because SPY's pumping. I'm like, don't you dare tell me this until it actually clears. I'm like, you're probably right, but yeah, I think Neo's like one of those ones that I think this is gonna go back to double digits. I'm really sad that back like last year in the summer, me, you, Craig Pill, we all were doing calls on Neo. If we would have just had them out 2 months more, we all would have been fucking rich, but they all expired before this whole thing pumped. So I'm really sad about that. So that's what taught me to do leaps. I was like, damn, if I would have just bought leaps and I would have still held, I would have made like, I think like 200 grand. So sad.
The other thing I would say to option traders is have a segmented or segregated portfolio. I keep my year out leaps in a separate category within my Thinkorswim, so I just don't look at them. Like I've got all kinds of like random leaps, like silver, Pinterest, Intel, just stuff that was relatively cheap and I think could happen eventually, but I don't want to monitor it every day. So do take advantage of the leaps, because if they do happen to pump, the time premium really favors you. If you have a stock that's at $10 and you have 2021 calls and it goes to 20, you are going to enjoy some very heady premium on those if you manage to sell them in time. But don't be afraid to use those leap calls, because the premium and time is part of the equation that yields well within option trading.
Yo, thank you once again, everybody, for joining. Dime, as always, thank you so much for joining me and coming on. I always really appreciate it. And if you guys need anything, remember, you guys can ask Dime or me or anybody just me and Dime about anything about Cheddar Flow, anything about options, or if you guys want to really, really learn and really actually want to join my Discord and aren't going to just LARP around, and you can ask Dime for an invite, and he'll invite you.
What?
Look, then maybe they'll reach out for your Cheddar Flow link.
You told me that all invites have to go through you.
That's fine.
I feel like you're doing a switcheroo.
No, that's fine. I mean, I've been a little lax because I was trying to avoid somebody on Twitter because I didn't want them in the Discord because I wasn't sure who they were. But now I figured out who they are, so now I don't care anymore. So
good.
Yeah, I was really concerned because they were just like, they were really hounding me.
We need some fresh blood in there.
Yeah, we need some more people in Discord because we got a couple good ones. we had Rodrigo in there. Dude, that guy made me so much money. So I wasn't going to buy American Airline puts, and then he dropped the knowledge on me. He was like, dude, these numbers are going to come out shitty. He's like, look at the numbers right now. He's like, they're shit. So I was like, all right, man. I'm like, there's mad order flow and cheddar flow. I'm like, and it's up here. I'm like, and there's a bearish TK about to happen over a gap. I'm like, all right, fuck it. We'll go ahead and play. Dude, every day it gapped down, it was like 100%. So at the end of the day today, I think I cashed out 350% on these, and I wasn't even planning on making money on any of these until at least September. So I tossed in like a big chunk. So I was really happy. I was like, yo, I don't know who invited Rodrigo in Discord, but that guy was genius.
I don't even know who that is. I'll have to pick his brain.
Yeah, he's awesome. Let me... Yeah, I guess I can go ahead and put an invite in here because you guys have been watching this for quite some time, so...
Oh god, let me warn them.
Yeah. Create channel. No, not create channel. Oops. Hold on. Invite people. Edit link. This link will only be active for an hour, and it will only have 25 uses. Create, copy, and I'm gonna go ahead and put it in here. I'm technically more active on my Twitter, but I swear I try my best to be active in there somewhat. But I at least answer DMs in Discord, so if you DM me in Discord, I'll answer you. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining, and we will catch you on Sunday. See you later. Good night. Oh, shit, I hung up.